Yeah.
JT here.
And I'm the Baron. We're back this week for another discussion. JT, I know I haven't told you exactly what it'll be. How's the coffee? Hot coffee, hot fresh coffee. I know I haven't told you what it is, but I have brought a visual aid. You may have seen this. I'm not sure if you have or not. I haven't talked to you about it. Take a look at this. If you know what it is, talk about it. And for everybody that can't see it, I'm going to put a picture of it up here, I think. Maybe up over my head. Do you know what that is?
This is supposed to be the prototype.
Haha, you have
For
seen.
the NX controller.
Very good. So that leads me to my first question. What did you think of what did you think about it when you saw it? And hopefully I should be able to put a picture up here so people will be able to see what you're looking at.
It's.
I think I think this is right side up. I think that's correct. That's
either way. No. It's just this
Is it
way.
down?
The bumpers are right here. They're supposed to be sensitive.
Oh,
bumpers.
okay.
It's supposed to be kind of, maybe about this size.
So anyway, yeah.
It's this.
I'm gonna put the pic.
Yeah,
you don't have to show the people.
okay,
I'm gonna put it up there for them.
It's this.
I'm gonna have a picture up
Yeah.
here.
No, I actually heard that it might be a fake.
I have heard that it 100% is a fake. They've interviewed the guy that released the picture because this was leaked online from one of the engineers
I would
from
be
Nintendo.
fine with it. I don't care. Whatever. I'm missing buttons though. You need to have buttons.
I think if they wanted, the idea was to be all touchscreen for the most part.
Well, that wouldn't fly then.
No, it looks like it. I didn't like the idea of it personally.
No.
So, anyways,
It's missing the buttons though. It's missing buttons. Say if you had this, and I don't know what that's for, but if that was cut off obviously, and it was just that flat screen right there.
Right.
And you had buttons, and these are up a little more, like traditional.
Correct.
Triggers and this and that.
So we got
maybe the handles right here.
the joysticks and the bumpers. So
Yes.
that looks fine.
This is all traditional, handheld, whatnot.
Right.
The digital iPad or the directional pad.
D-pad. Yep.
Normal stuff. That's too far-fetched. They called it like a football, an iPad football.
Yeah, because that's kind of what it looks like.
It's a piece of garbage.
So
It's like a freaking rear view mirror.
that is exactly what I thought. It looks like a rearview mirror.
What the hell?
So I've actually seen more pictures of it with the screen off. It looked black. They had it black instead of white. So
Okay.
there are a lot of other pictures out there. They're all fake.
I don't even know what that is. What is that showing?
I couldn't figure that out either.
It's like a cavern. Or
Anyways, it has been determined that the engineer put that out fakely. It was a hoax.
What a douche.
But that led me into thinking, what's my favorite controller of all time? Of every controller I've ever used. And that's what I wanted to ask you. And on top of that, after we finish that, the worst controller you've ever used. And I immediately know what my answer for that one is. Best, that's up to the debate, but I absolutely know what my worst is of all time. So, that being asked, I know you said last discussion that you have been playing since Atari. Mm-hmm. You've used a lot of controllers over the time, as have I.
Many.
Nintendo themselves have put many varieties out.
Many.
What's your favorite controller of all time? And then I'll also discuss mine.
My personal favorite?
Your personal favorite.
Out of all the systems.
Every system you've played on, it can be arcade if you want to say an
That's
arcade.
given me the fondest memories.
Correct. Most comfortable in your hands, whatever you want to use as your basis for picking your favorite. I know what mine is. I did a bunch of thinking on it. Not too much silence now. People are.
I know. I'm thinking. You know what? Speed it up. I'm gonna sit here for a minute. And
All right.
Speed.
Take time. I will do a fast forward. Yes.
No. You know what?
What? You have an answer?
I do.
Okay. Now I don't need to speed it up. That was good.
It has to be the NES Advantage.
Really?
Yes. It gives me the best memories.
The best, fondest memories?
Like when I started out, it was one of my first systems was the Nintendo.
Okay.
And I enjoyed the regular controller, as did everybody.
And if anybody knows what it is, I'll put a picture of it up here.
All right, okay.
Up over
So
JT's head. I'll put a
Or
picture
if
of the
it's
NES.
messed up, it's over here. Or it could be down there.
No,
or right in front of me. Or it could be right here. Like right here. Here's the blank screen right here.
You know what? Now I'm going to put it over your face. Now I'm going to put the controller over your face.
It's like wah, 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 wah.
But I'll get it out here somewhere, probably up over JT's head, and then I'll put
NES
my
Advantage.
choice up over here.
Because I loved, it made me replay all my Nintendo games.
Okay.
And I loved it, and it felt great, and it had the turbo, and the buttons felt great, and the joystick. You can play it as if like it was a joystick.
Now that was the
or you can pick it up and actually use it as in like the pre-analog stick. It was a little big, but it was it was an analog stick.
if I remember right, that's the
big box.
gray one with the joystick
Gray,
on it.
yeah.
Yeah, great for fighting games.
Great for fighting games. Great for all games, in my opinion. I loved it.
No,
I brought it to people's houses when I went to sleepovers. I brought mine in NES Advantage. You know what I mean? I was that guy that brought the Advantage.
Because you had to have your remote.
And it was, I took pride in it because only one other person had it.
Yeah, not a lot of people had it.
It was one of the rich kids.
I had.
I was like, yeah.
I think I had one friend that had it, and yeah, they were the cool ones because they had the Advantage controller.
It was such a great. I mean, I played all the other controllers, and I love the GameCube controller. You know, I thought that was pretty cool. I like the GameCube.
Funny you should mention that.
I love the GameCube controller. You know, I didn't very much care for the original Xbox controller. That was kind of ridiculous.
No, I'm still not a big fan of Xbox controllers. They've improved, but
you know, I mean, the Dreamcast controller wasn't any better, but it just felt a little better in your hands. It just
yeah.
You know,
PlayStation has always done a good enough job with their remotes.
Yeah.
Nothing stands out, but they weren't ever terrible.
Even as a ColecoVision, you know, with the little paddles and the little dials,
yes.
with the numbers and stuff,
Yep.
the templates. I mean, I thought that was kind of a cool controller, you know.
I thought maybe you'd go original Atari with just the stick and one button, because a lot of people reminisce about that.
But on that, you know, that gives you good memories, you know.
Right.
You know, that noise that makes.
And it was good, simple.
You're holding it, you're pressing the button, you know, sweating on it and stuff.
Now, I did hear that gave game designers fits because they had to design their games around the fact that they only had basically a stick and one button.
That's it.
Yeah, they couldn't have
That's all they had.
any complicated movements or button pushing.
Nothing. Hey, man, you know, you got to build your own hardware, which they ended up doing.
Yep. So
Boom.
now, to me,
Yes, give it to me.
I also am going to go Nintendo.
Uh-oh.
And funny enough that you mentioned the GameCube controller, because I did a lot of thinking, and that is my favorite.
That's your fave?
Absolutely.
Lucky.
The feel of it in my hands was near perfect. The way they laid it out, nothing got in the way of other things. I remember having an issue with PlayStation where if you push both joysticks in, both analog sticks in, your thumbs could hit sometimes.
I hated that though.
Never had that issue.
Only until recently that they finally solved that problem with the PlayStation controller. It's wide enough finally to where sometimes it does, but not nearly as it did before.
Correct.
Touch the thumbs in the middle when you go in like that.
And
Ridiculous.
looks-wise, the GameCube controller looks great.
It's
Colorful.
Cool. It's cool looking.
Yeah, it's just really cool. And it was different. They went on a limb like Nintendo always does and designed a new controller.
With the C-stick.
Yep. And
Like, what's that nub?
I also think it led the way in to more analog controllers, PlayStation and Xbox being the obvious examples.
Yes. Absolutely.
So,
It's a great controller.
Oh, and on top of that, it's still used today.
Yeah.
I mean, GameCube came out so long ago, was it early 2000s-ish?
Yeah.
And they're still using it a
2000,
decade or more later.
2002.
Yeah, and they're still using it over a decade later for... You can plug it into the Wii and the Wii U and play games using that remote.
People prefer to use that for what, man? Super Smash Melee.
Super Smash
That is
Melee.
the preferred controller.
Yep.
They love it. They swear by it. They'll only use that controller. They'll bring it to the tournaments and use it.
I'd probably use it
Have
for
a good
Wind Waker.
time.
I mean, even other games.
Wind Waker. Yes, absolutely. No, it's Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime, another good example.
I love playing it with the Wii controller. The GameCube.
GameCube
the original GameCube controller. The lock-on. You have to do the lock-on.
Now, not to say that there wasn't a lot of other good examples of awesome controllers. I mean, the Wii Stick, although it was weird with its movement,
I'm going to change.
it was, state of the art at the time, and it's
The
led
what?
the way. The Wii remote, the original
The
Wii.
Wii remote. Gotcha.
I'm
Gotcha.
going to change.
That's great.
So, I mean, that was cool. There's been a lot of cool...
Very innovative.
Now, the more fun question, because I have a lot of examples of these.
Let me see.
What is your least favorite controller? It doesn't even have to be one you
I'm going to
use.
change in my room, so don't go in my room.
You know, we should probably put an on-air thing
I don't think it would matter.
for people.
If anybody doesn't recognize that by now, that was Gracie. So,
Gracie! She was doing something.
so least favorite controller.
Least favorite
Leader.
controller.
I know mine right off the top of my head, and we've talked about it before, but I also have some other good examples of ones that I've hated.
said, I didn't like the original Xbox. It was still usable.
Right.
It just wasn't.
It was functional. At least there's that.
Why is it so big? Why did you make it so big?
It really was like
You came out with the
it was like
S.
holding a deflated football in your hand.
They came out with another model, the S model or whatever, which was a normal controller. No, the normal controller, huh? You gave us the normal. No, I don't know.
Would you like me to give mine while you're thinking about it? I might spark.
Yeah, give yours.
All right,
'cause
so-
it's a hard one.
It is, and there's a lot of bad remotes out
There's
there.
a lot of crap out there.
While I was actually thinking about this, I was looking up online like the history of remotes, and there's so many bad ones out there. But that being said, my least favorite was and I don't think Nintendo made them, but it was the wireless remotes for the NES. And JT
Talking
and I,
about the RF ones.
yes, JT and I have talked about this before. You literally had to be about 3 feet from the unit itself with the remote and aiming it directly at it. So I'd be like right here, and you just stare at it and hit buttons.
Terrible.
Horrible controller. That's my least favorite that I've actually played with. Now,
Terrible.
looks-wise and feel-wise, I once picked up a Nerf controller for the PlayStation. Now, good idea for kids because you can just throw them all over the place. But it was basically a PlayStation controller encased in Nerf foam.
Sounds awful.
It was like a foam controller.
The buttons and all?
Buttons and all. Yeah, I
ridiculous.
believe so. I'm gonna, as we've been talking about these things, I'm gonna try and throw pictures up here, so I'll be
Terrible.
reminding
It must feel
myself.
It
But
must feel terrible.
it was like holding an old school Nerf football,
You're just.
but with a hard center, because it still had the hard
Yeah.
guts in it.
Huh.
It was ridiculous, but definitely the worst controller I've ever gamed with. And I really wanted to want them and like them was those wireless RF Nintendo controllers, the NES.
Oh, that would have been nice.
They were
if
so
they actually
bad.
worked.
I mean,
But they never did.
they never did. But again, it's another one of those things Nintendo did. They were a little ahead of their time. I'll look at now, everything's wireless. They just didn't have the technology back then. But they tried, just like they tried with Virtual Boy to do virtual reality.
Let's say Virtual Boy, Headache Boy,
I mean, Nintendo tries. Sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss.
Migraine Boy.
Again, look at the NX controller that we showed you earlier. People started jumping all over everybody for it.
Garbage. You know what? My least favorite controller. Oh God, I don't know.
And it doesn't have to be. I mean, it could be a Mad Catz knockoff from something else. I mean, I've had some bad Mad Cats. Not saying
Oh,
Mad
I've
Catz is
had-
bad because I've had good ones too.
Oh,
But
of course, I've had terrible. It just goes back to the Xbox, I guess.
you're gonna go with Xbox. Xbox
It
original
was
Xbox.
just too big. It's too clunky. Like I've had bad controllers. There's true controllers that don't work, but like for a system to come out originally
Yeah.
and come out and debut their system, this and that, and they come out with that piece of crap controller.
Yeah, that
It was
kind of
just
hurt.
irritating. It's like, first off, your Xbox is huge. Then you give us this huge,
It was huge.
huge thing. I mean, it's as big as a system. I mean, you put the original Xbox controller on top of a GameCube. It's literally as big as the
It was
dang
like
system.
a PC tower sideways.
It was ridiculous. Hold a loaf of bread. That's what it felt like. Dumb.
I mean, they have improved,
Absolutely.
but
The
it's
new one's great. I
not
love
a
the new
great,
one.
not a great start to it.
No, it was terrible.
Remote control days. All right, so that wraps up our favorite and least favorite controllers, along with a little talk on the NX leaked remote.
Leaked.
Now, before we close that, the patent that Nintendo put in for the remote,
It does look.
it does look like that.
Yeah, I think it's just a rough drawing.
But it's a patent. They
Yeah,
might not
it's a
even use that.
patent.
They can come out with another patent.
Yeah, it's a rough drawing, I'm sure.
So
Even if it isn't, I mean, Nintendo spruced the Wii U controller up.
yeah,
It
yep.
wasn't the little snubs anymore. It was an actual analog. It was a little wider than it was portrayed to begin with, but whatever.
For sure.
We'll see. It was still functional. It's still cool. It's cool. You know you're gonna play it.
At home.
You're gonna buy it and you're gonna
Most
play it.
definitely.
I guarantee it is.
With the IPs they already have out, like Zelda, Mario,
Yeah, it
every
don't
Mario
matter,
game.
yeah.
Now they got Splatoon. I'm sure they'll come out with. I guarantee they'll come out with a new Splatoon game. But that being said, I would love to get some feedback from the people that watch this, our current subscribers, and any future ones about their favorite and least favorite controllers. I'm sure everybody has good and bad memories of controllers they've used. I even have bad memories of the original NES. Those corners poking me in my hands after a few hours of playing, but I'll still
yeah.
fondly remember
Right,
them.
yeah.
So, anyways, I appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share
Like me.
for sure. Everything that we do, we're trying to get better. Hopefully next week, not hopefully, next week we will
Definitely.
be using a different backdrop.
And
Whether
have
it's
dolphins swimming behind us.
we'll, for the gaming, we'll be using green screen. I don't know if we'll do it for the chats, but we'll figure it out as we go. But things are gonna start looking nice. Was that a Metroid coming
There's
after
a
me?
cat.
Oh,
That was a Metroid cat.
I thought that was a Metroid coming to suck my head. So anyways, we'll talk to everybody next week. Thanks again for watching.
All right.
Later.
I'm
Thanks for watching and subscribe and
I don't think it recorded at all.